At the beginning of the drama, we see our female lead, whose name is Chuxia. Chuxia's boss asks her to go to an address to check on a patient, but Chuxia can't find that address. Chuxia is going to Mr. Han's house to see his son, so Chuxia calls Mr. Han. Mr. Han says, "Someone will come to get you." Just then, a person comes there and is looking for someone. So Chuxia says to that person, "I am the one who has come to see the patient." That person is the housekeeper and takes Chuxia inside the house, leaving her with a boy. And this boy is our male lead, whose name is Han Chi. On the other side, the housekeeper goes to Mrs. Han and says, "Dr. Chuxia is with Han Chi. Don't you worry, she is a psychologist. She will help Han Chi." Hearing this, Mrs. Han says, "I am also hoping for the same. It would be good if everything becomes all right this time. I can't see my son imprisoned in the house anymore." In the next scene, Chuxia starts Han Chi's treatment and goes near him, but Han Chi stops Chuxia from coming close to him. On the other side, Dr. and arrives, and we find out that Chuxia was supposed to check on another patient but came here by mistake. Now Mrs. Han finds out that she has left her son alone with someone else, so she starts running towards the room. And here, Chuxia starts to go near Han Chi. Just then, her foot slips, and she falls on top of Han Chi, which results in a kiss between Chuxia and Han Chi. At that moment, Mrs. Han arrives there with Dr. An. So Chuxia quickly moves away, and Han Chi also quickly moves away from Chuxia. Now, due to the fall, Han Chi's hand gets hurt, so Mrs. Han applies medicine to his hand. Just then, Chuxia gets a call from her boss. He says to Chuxia, "Why haven't you gone to the patient's house yet? I am firing you from the job for being irresponsible." In the next scene, Dr. and takes Mrs. Han to talk in private. Mrs. Han asks Dr. An, "Will my son get well?" So Dr. An says, "Ever since your son met that girl, he has had this skin allergy problem. And now look at this girl. She kissed Han Chi, but nothing happened to him. So, what I mean is that this girl can help in making your son well." Hearing this, Mrs. Han goes to Chuxia and asks her to sign an agreement. And then Mrs. Han says to Chuxia, "I have found out about you. Your mom is ill, isn't she?" So Chuxia says, "Whatever you have to do it with me. Don't bring my mom into this." Then Mrs. Han says to Chuxia, "You are misunderstanding me. I want to make a deal with you. I will pay for your mom's treatment, and you will have to help with my son's treatment." So Chuxia says, "Are you telling the truth?" Then Mrs. Han says, "You can complete your studies again with my son." Seeing a profitable deal, Chuxia agrees. After this, Mrs. Han tells her son about this deal. So Han Chi says to his mom, "I do not accept this." Then Mrs. Han starts to emotionally blackmail Han Chi, which makes Han Chi agree. Then Mrs. Han gives both of them smartwatches and tells Chuxia, "This watch will record the distance between you two, so you both will have to stay physically connected within 1 meter for 8 hours every day." In the next scene, Chuxia is checking the distances. Just then, Han Chi says to her, "Stay away from me." Chuxia says sorry to Han Chi, and as Han Chi starts to leave, Chuxia says to Han Chi, "I know you won't like this, but I have promised Mrs. Han that I will help with your treatment." Han Chi says to Chuxia, "If you truly feel sorry, then you should resign." Chuxia says, "I can't do that." Hearing this, Han Chi leaves from there. Just then, the housekeeper comes and shows Chuxia the bedroom, and then he gives Chuxia a lot of files and says, "All of Han Chi's information is in this. Memorize it." And then the housekeeper gives Chuxia a school uniform and says, "From today, you will go to school with Han Chi." In the next scene, Chuxia goes to school with Han Chi. When Han Chi gets out of the car, Chuxia also follows him. Just then, Chuxia suddenly bumps into Han Chi. So Han Chi says to Chuxia, "Stay away from me." After saying this, Han Chi starts walking. So Chuxia says to Han Chi, "If I stay so far away from you, how will I manage the distances?" After saying this, Chuxia again follows Han Chi. And then, as Chuxia enters the class, the children there start talking among themselves and say, "We have never seen this girl before." Chuxia doesn't respond and sits in the seat next to Han Chi. So a boy signals Chuxia not to sit there. In the meantime, Han Chi, who was sleeping, wakes up. So Chuxia says to Han Chi, "Don't stare at me like that. Only the seat next to you was empty, so I came and sat here." Hearing this, Han Chi doesn't say anything. So Chuxia asks that boy, "What happened to you?" Han Chi tells Chuxia to be quiet. So that boy takes Chuxia aside alone and asks Chuxia, "Did you not recognize me? I am An Chen. We worked as part-timers at the bakery." Hearing this, Chuxia recognizes An Chen. Then, An Chen asks Chuxia, "How is your mom?" Chuxia says, "She is the same as before. We are not finding any kidney donor for her." Just then, Han Chi arrives there and hears everything they are saying. Chuxia tells An Chen, "I got a job with the Han family." And Chen says to Chuxia, "Han Chi doesn't seem right to me. If you touch Han Chi, he will become violent with you." Chuxia says, "I don't think Han Chi is like that." And after hearing all this, Han Chi leaves from there. In the next scene, at night, when Han Chi is sleeping, Chuxia goes to Han Chi and connects her watch with Han Chi's watch, saying, "I am not fond of staying with you either." After 1 minute is complete, I will leave from here. Now, as 1 minute gets completed, Chuxia leaves from there. Just then, Han Qi wakes up, and we find out that Han Qi was just pretending to be asleep. In the next scene, Chuxia reaches school with Han Qi. Chuxia says to Han Qi, "You want me to stay away from you, right? Then give me your watch. I won't come near you." Han Qi says to Chuxia, "Don't make me angry for the whole day today. If you can do this, I will think about giving you my watch." And then Chuxia leaves Han Qi alone and comes outside. And then Chuxia herself starts reading Han Qi's information. Just then, a girl comes to Chuxia, whose name is Xinwei. Xinwei says to Chuxia, "Stop trying to impress Han Qi." Chuxia says to Xinwei, "You have some misunderstanding." Xinwei sees Han Qi's information in Chuxia's hand and says to Chuxia, "Don't lie, Han Qi is mine." Saying this, she leaves from there. So Chuxia also comes to the class. Just then, Xinwei also comes and sits in her seat. Chuxia asks Han Qi, "Is Xinwei your girlfriend?" So Han Qi gives his watch to Chuxia. Chuxia takes the watch and leaves from there. Han Qi asks Xinwei, "Did you try to bother Chuxia?" Xinwei lies, "I haven't done anything like that." Han Qi says to Xinwei, "Stay away from Chuxia. You are not my girlfriend." Saying this, Han Qi leaves from there. In the next scene, Chuxia is with An Chen at his bakery and asks An Chen, "Is Xinwei Han Qi's girlfriend?" An Chen tells her, "No, Xinwei is not Han Qi's girlfriend. She has liked Han Qi for 2 years." Just then, Han Qi sees Chuxia and An Chen together and feels jealous. In the next scene, at night, Chuxia angrily writes about Han Qi. May Han Qi have bad dreams and not be able to sleep. On the other side, Han Qi really has a bad dream, which scares him. In the next scene, Mrs. Han asks Han Qi, "Did you not sleep well?" So Han Qi tells his mom, "I had a bad dream." Chuxia overhears this and thinks, all this happened because of what she said. After this, when Chuxia goes to school, she tells An Chen about this. "Yesterday, I wrote in the note that Han Qi should have bad dreams, and it really happened like that." And Chen says to Chuxia, "You are overthinking. It doesn't happen like that." Just then, Han Qi arrives there and asks Chuxia for his watch. Chuxia refuses to give the watch. So Han Qi says, "Okay, fine. I will consider this your resignation." Hearing this, Chuxia quickly gives that watch to Han Qi. So Han Qi says, "If you don't want to leave this job, then maintain the distance." After this, at night, Han Qi gives Chuxia a lot of books and says, "Exams are coming, for which you have to pass. If you fail, you will not remain in my class." Hearing this, Chuxia leaves from there and sits in her room to study. And then she writes in her diary, "May Han Qi get 0 marks in the exam." On the other side, Han Qi remembers an incident from his childhood where a lady had kidnapped and kept him. Han Qi is remembering this when his mom comes there and asks Han Qi, "Are you okay?" So Han Qi says, "Mom, I am fine." Saying this, Han Qi leaves. In the next scene, Chuxia gets very tired after studying all night, and when she goes to school, she falls asleep on Han Qi's back. So Han Qi tells Chuxia to get up. Chuxia says, "Wait 2 minutes." Just then, Xinwei sees all this and gets very angry. In the next scene, Xinwei sees Chuxia alone and takes her along. But Chuxia is still feeling sleepy. Xinwei says to Chuxia, "What kind of magic have you cast on Han Qi that he is letting you stay close to him?" So Chuxia says, "Han Qi is sick." But Xinwei doesn't listen to her and locks her in a room. Just then, a girl comes and takes Xinwei with her. So Chuxia remains locked in the room. On the other side, the exam was about to start, which is why Han Qi was looking for Chuxia. So Han Qi also tells An Chen Chuxia is missing. So An Chen goes to Xinwei and asks, "Where is Chuxia?" Xinwei says, "I don't know." So An Chen says, "Chuxia is missing, she can't be found." So Xinwei says, "Maybe she is in the music room." So An Chen quickly goes to Han Qi and says, "Chuxia is in the music room." Hearing this, Han Qi quickly goes there, gets the room opened, takes Chuxia out, and takes her to the doctor. The doctor tells them, "Chuxia is fine, she is just sleeping." After a while, Chuxia wakes up and asks, "What is the time? If we miss the exam, we will get a 0. Hearing this, An Chen says, "We have missed the exam." Just then, Xinwei comes there and says, "Sorry" to Chuxia. So Chuxia says, "Xinwei is the one who locked me in the room." So Xinwei says to Chuxia, "I was very angry with you, so I locked you in the room. And then later, I was about to get you out of the room, but I forgot." Chuxia says, "What have I done to you?" So Xinwei says to Han Qi, Chuxia said that you are sick. Han-chi says to Shinwei, yes, I am sick, but how does that matter to you? Then Shinwei touches Han-chi. So Chuxia quickly comes and pulls Shinwei away from Han-chi. So Shinwei gets sad and leaves from there. And Chen also goes after Shinwei. And here, Chuxia applies medicine to Han-chi's allergy. So Han-chi asks Chuxia, where did you get this medicine? Chuxia says, I always keep it with me. I had asked the housekeeper for this medicine so that I could use it when needed. In the next scene, Chuxia is studying at home. Just then, Mrs. Han comes there and says, my husband will be happy to meet you. He is coming home soon. In the next scene, when Han-ki and Chuxia go to school, all the students are looking at their results in which Shinwei comes first. But she gets angry and leaves. So some students are talking among themselves. Han-ki skipped the exam because of Chuxia. If Han-ki had given the exam, Shinwei would never have come first. Hearing this, Chuxia apologizes to Han-ki. So Han-chi says, it's okay. After this, the teacher calls Han-ki, An-chen, and Chuxia to her office and starts getting angry at the three of them. She says to Chuxia, why did you miss the exam? So Chuxia says, I was locked in a room and these two missed their exam for me. Hearing this, the teacher says, can you prove it? Just then, Shinwei comes there and says, yes, teacher, it's true. Chuxia was locked in a room. We got Chuxia out with the help of the watchman. Hearing this, the teacher gives the three of them another chance to take the exam. In the next scene, Chuxia asks An-chen, why isn't Han-chi studying? So An-chen says, he doesn't need to study. Saying this, An-chen leaves from there. So Chuxia says to Han-chi, can you give me your notes? So Han-chi takes the book from Chuxia, highlights some questions in it and says, read this. With this, you will pass. Chuxia asks, why are you so sure? Han-chi says, because I have a brain. In the next scene, Chuxia goes to Han-chi at night and says, can you help me in the rest of the subjects too? So Han-chi gives all the exam papers to Chuxia. So Chuxia says, can I share these exam papers with An-chen? So Han-chi says, you can do whatever you want. In the next scene at school, Chuxia says to Han-chi, I am not understanding this question. Can you explain this to me? So Han-chi goes near Chuxia and starts explaining the question to her. Then Chuxia tries to touch Han-chi's watch, but Han-chi stops her. Just then, seeing An-chen coming, Chuxia goes to him, takes him with her, gives him the exam papers and says, Han-chi gave these to me. So An-chen starts looking at the papers. Then, Chuxia asks An-chen, how can I touch Han-chi without irritating him? So An-chen says, why do you have to touch Han-chi? Do you like him? Chuxia says, will you give me an idea or not? So An-chen says, when Han-chi is asleep, then you can touch him. Hearing this, Chuxia goes back. But Han-ki is not there. In the next scene, Han-ki's dad, Mr. Han, comes home. Mrs. Han tells Mr. Han about Chuxia and says, I want to make Chuxia my daughter-in-law. So Mr. Han says Han-ki's marriage will only be with the daughter of the Shang family. In the next scene, An-chen gives Chuxia an idea. You can hide a paper in your hand and touch Han-chi's head. If he sees, say there was a paper in your hair. And then An-chen tells Chuxia to practice with him. So Han-chi sees them both together and leaves angrily. In the next scene, everyone is having dinner. Chuxia thinks, Mrs. Han said that Mr. Han is short-tempered. Then Mrs. Han tells Mr. Han, Han-chi has changed a lot in Chuxia's company. All this has happened because of Chuxia. Hearing this, Han-chi gets up from the table and leaves. In the next scene, An-chen, Chuxia, and Han-chi take the exam. When Chuxia looks at the exam paper, she thinks, this is the same paper that Han-chi gave me. On the other side, An-chen tells Shinwei everything about the exam paper. Hearing this, Shinwei takes a copy of that exam paper from An-chen and tells the teacher everything. The teacher calls Han-chi, gets angry, and rejects his exam. When Han-chi comes out of the teacher's room, Chuxia says sorry to him. In the next scene, Han-chi's mom gifts Chuxia a tablet in happiness for passing the exam. When Chuxia opens the tablet, a photo of Han-chi and Chuxia is on its screen. After this, when Han-chi and Chuxia go to school, Chuxia is following Han-chi and thinks, I must not disappoint Mrs. Han. Thinking this, she starts to hold Han-chi's hand. So Han-chi says, keep your hand away from me. Did my mom pressure you again to complete the task? Chuxia says, I don't want to disappoint her. And when they go to class, Han-chi sleeps there. Chuxia looks at him and thinks, does he not sleep at night? Just then, Han-chi gets a call from someone and gets up and leaves. Chuxia also goes after him. Then An-chen sees Chuxia's tablet, sees the photo of Han-chi and Chuxia in it, and the girls with An-chen also see that photo and say, are these two dating each other? Seeing this, Shinwei starts to get angry and starts talking about Chuxia all over the school. So An-chen goes to Chuxia and says, forgive me, this happened because of me. So Chuxia says, none of this is affecting me. I am just scared of Han-chi's anger. I don't know what he will do. On the other side, Han-ki, not seeing Chuxia in the class, goes to find her. And then he finds Chuxia, who is talking to Mrs. Han. Mrs. Han says to Chuxia, "Your mom's transplant is going to happen next week." Hearing this, Chuxia becomes happy and says, "I have completed the 1-minute task." So Hanqi hears this and leaves from there. On the other side, in the class, the girls are talking about Hanqi and Chuxia. Xinwei says angrily, "Those two can never be one." Just then, Hanqi comes there, seeing whom everyone becomes quiet. So Hanqi says to Xinwei, "You said it absolutely right. I will never date Chuxia." Just then, Chuxia comes there and hears all this. In the next scene, at night, when Chuxia is going with water, she bumps into Hanqi and says, "When Mrs. Han gave me that tablet, that photo was on it. If it is causing you any trouble, I will change the photo." So Hanqi says, "You only work in our family. Why would this matter to me?" The next day at school, Anchen asks Chuxia, "Are you okay?" So Chuxia says, "I am okay." And then Chuxia asks Anchen, "You like Xinwei, don't you?" So Anchen says, "How did you know?" So Chuxia says, "I knew from your actions." Hearing this, Anchen leaves. So Chuxia is sitting outside alone. Just then, Xinwei comes there and says to Chuxia, "I am going on a date with Hanqi today." Saying this, she leaves. To stop her, Chuxia goes after her. Here, Xinwei starts to touch Hanqi to give him coffee. So Chuxia quickly comes and stops Xinwei. In all of this, the coffee spills on Chuxia's hand. So Hanqi brings Chuxia to the classroom and starts applying medicine to her hand. So Chuxia says, "Are you not angry with me?" So Hanqi says, "Why would I be angry with you?" Just then, both realize that the whole class is watching them, so they both quickly move away from each other. In the next scene, Chuxia and Hanqi are sitting holding each other's hand. So Hanqi says, "1 minute is over." So Chuxia says, "Stay like this for a little longer." To free his hand, Hanqi pulls his hand back forcefully, and Chuxia falls on top of Hanqi. Just then, Hanqi's mom comes there, so Chuxia moves away from Hanqi. As Hanqi leaves from there, he signals his mom and leaves. So Hanqi's mom sits next to Chuxia and says, "Your 1-minute time has become 10 minutes. In the next scene, when Chuxia goes to school, she thinks, "Now how can I touch and stay with Hanqi for 10 minutes? Just then, Chuxia's eyes fall on the poster for a dance competition, and she says to Hanqi, "We will perform a dance together." So Hanqi refuses. In the next scene, when Anchen is going to help Chuxia, Hanqi asks him, "You are doing the main lead, right?" So Anchen says, "Yes, I am doing the main lead, and Chuxia is making props, so I am going to help her." Hanqi says, "Isn't Chuxia becoming Cinderella?" So Anchen says, "No, Xinwei is becoming Cinderella." So Hanqi says, "Give this to me. I will help Chuxia." Saying this, he goes to Chuxia, and Chuxia's hand touches Hanqi's hand. On the other side, Anchen tells Xinwei, Hanqi has gone to help Chuxia. Hearing this, Xinwei gets angry and goes to them. Here, Chuxia's foot slips, and she is about to fall when Hanqi saves her, and then he puts paint on Chuxia's nose, and then both start having fun. Just then, Xinwei comes there, sees all this, and angrily starts to grab Chuxia. So Hanqi takes Chuxia's side, which causes Xinwei to fall, and her foot gets hurt. Because of this, she can't do the dance performance. So Anchen convinces Chuxia to become Cinderella, and then starts teaching her to dance. So Hanqi gets jealous, seeing them both close to each other, and leaves from there. In the next scene, at night, Chuxia is dancing alone. Hanqi sees her and then goes with her and starts teaching her to dance. Chuxia is not able to understand the dance steps, so Hanqi says to Chuxia, "Put your feet on my feet, then I will do it step by step, and you can remember them." And then they both do just that. Just then, Hanqi's mom sees them both dancing and starts clicking their photos. The next morning, Chuxia says thank you to Hanqi for teaching her to dance and asks, "Will you come to see my dance performance?" So Hanqi refuses. In the next scene, at Xinwei's behest, a girl cuts Chuxia's costume. Hanqi also wears a mask and goes to see Chuxia's performance. Now, as soon as Chuxia comes on stage wearing that dress, everyone starts making fun of her. Seeing this, Hanqi goes on stage and starts dancing with Chuxia. On the other side, Anchen tells Xinwei how Hanqi helped Chuxia. Hearing this, Xinwei gets even angrier. After this, Hanqi finds a diary of Chuxia's and keeps it with him. In the next scene, Xinwei meets Anchen and says, "I love Hanqi a lot and I want to forget him. And I know you love me, but I am not ready right now. Can you wait for me?" Hearing this, Anchen is shocked and says, "I will wait for you." In the next scene, Mrs. Han says to Chuxia, "I saw you two dance. You both looked very good." And then Mrs. Han says to Hanqi, "You went to help Chuxia. This shows how much you care for Chuxia." So Hanqi says, "Mom, whatever I did, it was all for the drama club." Saying this, Han Chi leaves. So Chuxia says to Mrs. Han, "You are having a misunderstanding. There is nothing going on between us. I am just doing my job." Saying this, Chuxia also leaves. On the other side, Han Chi reads Chuxia's diary, in which Chuxia has written her wishes. After this, Chuxia is saying to herself, Han Chi's engagement is with Miss Xiang. When Han Chi gets well, then I will have to leave from here. Our two worlds are different. Just then, Chuxia gets a call from An Chen. He calls Chuxia to his bakery, so Chuxia goes to An Chen's bakery and helps him. Then Chuxia asks An Chen, "You are hiding some secret from me, aren't you?" An Chen denies it. So Chuxia gets after him and says, "Tell me what that secret is." And then she starts running after him. Han Chi is watching all this from outside. The housekeeper says to Han Chi, "Should we leave from here?" So Han Chi says, "I feel like eating something sweet." And here, An Chen tells Chuxia, "Xinwei told me she will give me a chance." So Chuxia says, this means she has half agreed. So An Chen says, "How are things going between you and Han Chi?" Just then, Han Chi comes there and shows Chuxia her diary. Seeing this, Chuxia asks for her diary back. So Han Chi says, "I want a cake. If it's not tasty, I will read your diary." Here, the housekeeper calls Han Chi's mom and says, "Your plan worked." So Han Chi's mom says, "I knew my son has a crush on Chuxia. He just didn't know what to do next." On the other side, Chuxia brings the cake but doesn't see Han Chi there. Just then, Han Chi suddenly appears there, and Chuxia bumps into him, which makes Han Chi's heart beat fast, which Chuxia also feels. Then Han Chi says to Chuxia, "I'm sorry, I read your diary. Would you like to go camping with me?" So Chuxia agrees. In the next scene, Chuxia and Han Chi are going camping. Just then, on the way, Chuxia starts having a stomachache. So Han Chi books a room there and decides to spend the night there. So Chuxia says to Han Chi, "What are you still doing here? Go to your room." So Han Chi says, "Right now, only one room is available here, so we have to share this room." Chuxia says, "Okay, you sleep on the bed, and I will sleep on the sofa." So Han Chi agrees and goes to sleep on the bed. Just then, Chuxia is having a problem sleeping on the sofa. So Han Chi says, "Come and sleep on the bed. I am feeling sleepy, and you are making a lot of noise." So Chuxia agrees and sleeps on Han Chi's side. Now, in the middle of the night, Chuxia goes to the washroom and then comes back and sleeps hugging Han Chi, which makes Han Chi's heart beat very fast. And just then, Han Chi has a dream in which Han Chi is kidnapped. Just then, a little girl comes there. Han Chi's eyes open, and he sees Chuxia with him. Then Chuxia's eyes also open, and she quickly moves away from Han Chi and leaves, making the excuse of the washroom. So Han Chi messages someone and says, "Keep searching for that girl." After this, both go to the camping spot and set up a tent there. When Chuxia looks in the bag, there is only one mattress there. So Chuxia thinks, "Do we have to sleep on one mattress today as well?" And then Chuxia says to Han Chi, "I accidentally put only one mattress in the bag, but don't you worry. Today, I will not cross my line." So Han Chi says, "Let's see how you keep your promise today." And then both go to the beach and enjoy a lot, and also click photos together. Just then, Chuxia's eyes fall on Xinwei, who is going into the water. So Chuxia quickly tries to save Xinwei, but in all this, Xinwei falls into the water. So Chuxia says to Xinwei, "I'm sorry, I thought you were committing suicide." So Xinwei says, "I came here to enjoy, but you got my clothes wet." So Chuxia gives her clothes to Xinwei, but Xinwei refuses. So Chuxia messages An Chen and calls him there. After a while, An Chen also comes there, and then the four of them start enjoying together. Just then, Xinwei suddenly starts having a stomachache, so she goes to the side. So An Chen takes Chuxia to a side and asks her to give a pad to Xinwei. So Chuxia asks An Chen, "How did you know?" So An Chen says, "I had kept this in the luggage as well. I thought it might be needed." So Chuxia takes the pad and leaves. Then Han Chi asks An Chen, "You love Xinwei?" So An Chen says, "Are you having a problem with this?" Han Chi says, "I just want to ask how to take care of your lover." So An Chen says, "When you love someone, you start caring for them on your own." On the other side, Chuxia says to Xinwei, "An Chen loves you a lot. He cares for you a lot." So Xinwei says, "I know, but I am not able to control my feelings. I used to love Han Chi." So Chuxia asks Xinwei, "How do you find An Chen now?" Xinwei says, "I find him cute." And then Chuxia says sorry to Xinwei. So Chuxia says, "Forget the old things." After this, Chuxia says to Han Chi, "An Chen is a very nice boy." Then Han Chi starts asking Chuxia about her period time, so Chuxia puts her hand on Han Chi's mouth. The next morning, An Chen says, "What should we do today? Is there any plan?" So Chuxia says, "We didn't come with a plan." So Anchen says, we all write a note, and whatever comes on one of those notes, we will do that. And then everyone writes a note each. So Han Chi picks up a note on which amusement park is written. Then everyone goes to the amusement park and enjoys a lot. In the next scene, Han Chi says goodbye to Shin Wei and also asks for a handshake. Seeing this, Shin Wei is shocked. Han Chi says, I am well now. So Shin Wei shakes hands with Han Chi. Chuxia and An Chen are watching them secretly. So Chuxia thinks, Han Chi is well now, so I must leave now. In the next scene, we see Xiang. She is the same girl whose marriage is supposed to be with Han Chi. Xiang meets Han Chi with her dad. On the other side, Han Chi says to Chuxia, my birthday is coming, and I am going on a trip for a few days. I have to find an important person. Hearing this, Chuxia thinks Han Chi is going to meet Xiang. Han Chi says to Chuxia, take care of yourself. On the other side, Shin Wei proposes to An Chen, and An Chen also agrees. In the next scene, when Han Ki and Chuxia come home, Xiang has already left from there. So Chuxia says to Mrs. Han Ki is well now. Hearing this, Han Ki's mom touches Han Chi and hugs him. So Han Chi also hugs his mom. In the next scene, Han Ki deliberately says to the housekeeper, what should I get as a birthday gift? Chuxia hears all this and starts thinking about what gift to give Han Ki. And then Chuxia calls in Chen and says, what do boys like as a gift? So An Chen says, whatever gift girls give, they like it. In the next scene, Han Chi is leaving. Just then, on the way, he sees Xiang, doesn't recognize her, and says, if you have come to meet my parents, they are inside. You can go there. Saying this, Han Chi leaves. So Xiang goes inside, meets Mr. Han, and says, I met Han Chi, but he didn't recognize me. So Mr. Han says, Han Chi must have been in a hurry. That's why he left. On the other side, Han Chi meets An Chen and says, how do I confess to Chuxia? So An Chen gives Han Chi an idea. In the next scene, Chuxia bakes a cake for Han Chi and asks Shin Wei, will Han Chi like this? Just then, An Chen comes there and says, Han Chi will like this very much. And then An Chen signals to Shin Wei and leaves from there himself. So Shin Wei says to Chuxia, wear a red dress on Han Ki's birthday because Han Ki likes red dresses a lot. So Chuxia agrees and thinks, where will I get a red dress from? And then she goes home. Han Chi's mom goes to Chuxia's room and gives her a red dress, saying, I liked this dress, so I bought it for you. In the next scene, Chuxia gets ready for the birthday party wearing that red dress. At the party, Han Chi is about to propose to Chuxia, but Chuxia doesn't know this. And here, Shin Wei tells An Chen, I can't find Chuxia anywhere. And just then, Mr. Han stops Han Chi from making an announcement. And then he himself says in front of everyone, Han Ki is going to marry Xiang. So Xiang also comes and stands next to Han Chi. So Han Chi starts looking at his dad. Now we see a scene from the past where Mr. Han calls Chuxia and says, I'm going to announce the marriage of Xiang and Han Chi at today's party. Now your work is finished, so it is not necessary to stay here. Now we see the present scene where Xiang holds Han Chi's hand. So Han Chi frees his hand and leaves from there. So Xiang's dad says to Mr. Han, what is all this? Is your son not ready for this relationship? If so, why did you call us here? So Mr. Han says, don't you worry, I will talk to Han Chi. On the other side, Chuxia leaves the red dress and watch in the room and goes. Just then, Han Chi also comes into the room, but by then Chuxia has left. And here, Xiang also finds out about Chuxia. In the next scene, Han Chi goes to the hospital to find Chuxia, but he doesn't find her. So Han Chi tells An Chen and Shin Wei, Chuxia left me at my dad's behest. Now her number is also switched off. So An Chen says, we will all find her together. Just then, Xiang comes there and calls Han Chi, but Han Chi ignores her and leaves. In the next scene, An Chen tells Han Chi, we have found Chuxia's home address. So Han Chi quickly goes to Chuxia's house. Seeing Han Chi, Chuxia says, what are you doing here? Just then, Chuxia's mom comes there and asks Chuxia, who is this? So Han Chi says, Chuxia was working at our house. So Chuxia's mom says to Han Chi, say thank you to your mom on my behalf. She has helped us a lot. So Han Chi lies to Chuxia's mom and says, my car broke down, so can I stay here tonight? So Chuxia's mom agrees and then tells Chuxia to bring some things from the market. Han Chi also goes with Chuxia. Now, while coming back from the market, Han Chi sees a building where he was kidnapped and kept in his childhood. Seeing this, Han Chi goes inside the building, and Chuxia also goes after him. Just then, Han Chi's health suddenly starts to deteriorate, so Chuxia starts to handle him. Now, seeing Chuxia in front of him, Han Chi says, I remember now. You were the one who saved me. So Chuxia says, oh, so you were the one I got freed? So Han Chi says, yes, I have been searching for you for so long. So Chuxia says, that day I had gone to get water for you, but when I came back, you were not there. So Han Chi says, I was very scared then, so I quickly went to my home. And after that very day, I started getting a skin allergy from anyone's touch. So Chuxia says, the important person you were looking for? Was that me? So Han Chi says, yes, that was you. In the next scene, Xiang goes to Han Chi's house and starts waiting for him. Just then, the housekeeper comes there and tries to make Xiang leave, saying, I don't know when he will come. So Xiang says, I will wait. Just then, Han Chi's mom comes there and deliberately starts showing Xiang photos of Chuxia and Han Chi and makes her feel jealous. On the other side, Han Chi and Chuxia go home. Chuxia says to her mom, I told you that I saved a boy from captivity, right? He was none other than Han Chi. Hearing this, Chuxia's mom is surprised. So Han Chi says to Chuxia's mom, do you know that kidnapper lady? So Chuxia's mom says, yes, I know her. She was my co-worker. Then the factory owners fired her from the job and didn't give her money either, which is why she went into depression. And then for money, she kidnapped a child. And then Han Chi finds out that the factory belongs to none other than Xiang's dad. In the next scene, Han Chi comes home. So Xiang says to him, Han Chi, I have been waiting for you for a long time. So Han Chi tells Xiang to go home. So Xiang says to Han Chi, why are you doing this to me? We are engaged. So Han Chi says to Xiang, I am breaking this engagement. So Xiang says, one day you will regret it. Saying this, Xiang leaves. After this, Han Chi says to his dad, I will marry the one I like. So Han Chi's dad says to him, my friendship with Mr. Zhang is very old. How can I break this marriage? We will benefit from this marriage. So Han Chi says to his dad, that is your problem. And I have found out about the bad deeds of Mr. Zhang's factory. If all this is proven, that family will be ruined. So Han Chi's dad says, if you prove all this, I will break this engagement myself. On the other side, we see that Zhang's assistant tells her, Chuxia used to work in the Han family, but I don't know what work she did. Mrs. Han likes Chuxia a lot. She also got Chuxia's mom's treatment done, and Chuxia is also very special to Han Chi. So Xiang says, did you find out anything else about Chuxia? The assistant says, I have found Chuxia's old home address. So Xiang says, then let's go to that address. In the next scene, Han Chi meets Chuxia's mom and asks about the rest of the co-workers. So Chuxia's mom tells him about all of them. Then Chuxia and Han Chi together find out about that company's fraud, and then Han Chi gets some proof about Mr. Zhang. After this, Chuxia is leaving when she realizes that someone is following her. As she's about to attack him, she sees that it is none other than Han Chi. So Chuxia says to Han Chi, you scared me. So Han Chi tells her, I have found the factory's account book, and Mr. Zhang has embezzled money. I also have proof of this. Hearing this, Chuxia becomes happy and says, now you should quickly go to your dad and show him this account book. So Han Chi says, come, I will drop you home. So Chuxia says, I will go. So Han Chi leaves from there. Then Chuxia also starts to leave from there, but then Chuxia realizes something coming from behind. So Chuxia turns around and sees Xiang and her assistant there. So Chuxia says, who are you? Xiang says, you don't know me, but I know you. So Chuxia asks Xiang, what do you want? Just then, Han Chi comes there and says to Xiang, what are you doing here? So Xiang says to Han Chi, what are you doing here? I was engaged to you in childhood. You treated me very badly, and at the party too, you left me alone. And your mom also insulted me. You cheated on me for this girl. So Han Chi says, I cleared it with you last time that our engagement is broken. So Xiang says to Han Chi, you are leaving me for this girl? So Han Chi says, whatever happens, I will choose Chuxia. So Xiang says, will you go against our family? So Han Chi says, maybe you don't know what your family has done. In the next scene, Han Chi goes to his dad and tells him about the wrongdoings in Mr. Zhang's factory and also tells him about the proofs. And he also tells him, Mr. Zhang embezzled the factory workers' money and didn't give the workers money either. And one of those workers went into depression and became mentally ill, and she was the one who kidnapped me. So Han Chi's mom asks him, how did you find that kidnapper? So Han Chi says, I was kidnapped there, and Chuxia freed me. So Han Chi's mom says to Chuxia, you saved my son's life twice. Thank you so much for that. So Xiang says, this is all a lie. Chuxia has made up a story. So Han Chi says to his dad, Dad, now that everything is proven in front of you, you should break this engagement. So Han Chi's mom also says to Han Chi's dad, yes, you should break this engagement. I didn't like the Zhang family from the beginning anyway. So Han Chi's dad says, I am breaking this engagement. Just then, Xiang's dad, Mr. Zhang, comes there and asks, what is all this happening? So Xiang says, Dad, they are all bullying me. So Han Chi says to Mr. Zhang, do you remember this account book? So Mr. Zhang pretends to be unaware. So Han Chi says, if you don't remember, then we can contact the court about this. So Mr. Zhang says to Han Chi's dad, what kind of things is your son saying? So Han Chi's dad says, my son is saying absolutely right. You should be punished for what you have done. So Mr. Zhang says, we have been friends for so long, so you should support me. So Xiang says to her dad, Dad, if you haven't done anything wrong, then why are you begging in front of him? Saying this, Xiang leaves. So Mr. Jiang also goes after her. Then Han Chi's dad says sorry to Chuxia. So Chuxia says, you don't need to say sorry to me. I feel bad for those workers who did not get their salaries. So Han Chi's dad says to Han Chi, Chuxia is a good girl. You have chosen exactly the right girl. So Han Chi says to his dad, I know. Then Chuxia starts to leave from there, but Han Chi stops her and says, I have become sick again because Shang scared me. Now you will have to stay with me again until I get well. So Han Chi's mom and dad also force Chuxia, which makes Chuxia agree. After this, Han Chi's mom is spending time with Chuxia. In the next scene, Han Chi is sitting with his dad. Han Chi's dad says to him, ever since Chuxia has come into your mom's life, your mom has completely forgotten me. So Han Chi says, and when Chuxia is with mom, she forgets me. So Han Chi's dad says, I am missing my wife. So Han Chi says, I am also missing Chuxia. So Han Chi's dad says, I have an idea. After this, Han Chi goes to his mom and says, Mom, Dad has fallen ill, and he is in the hospital. Hearing this, Han Chi's mom quickly leaves from there. So Chuxia says to Han Chi, we should also go with them. So Han Chi tells Chuxia, this was my and Dad's plan to separate you two. Now let them both spend time together, and we will also spend time together. So Chuxia says to Han Chi, I will make something for you to eat. And then both start eating food together. Just then, Xiang comes there. So Han Chi says to Xiang, what are you doing here? So Xiang says, I have come to say goodbye to you two. So Han Chi says, you don't need to say goodbye to us. So Xiang says sorry to Chuxia and says, I am going abroad. You two stay happy. Saying this, Xiang leaves. So Chuxia asks Han Chi, why is Xiang going abroad? So Han Chi tells her, Mr. Jiang has sold everything and given the money to the workers. In the next scene, Xin Wei tells Chuxia, and Chen has proposed to me for marriage. So Chuxia says to Xin Wei, you are very lucky. So Xin Wei asks Chuxia, did Han Tai propose to you? So Chuxia says, no, he hasn't even confessed to me yet. Here, Chen and Han Chi are together. And Chen says to Han Chi, the girl I have loved for so many years, now finally I am going to marry her. I am very, very happy. And then Chen asks Han Chi, what is your plan? Han Chi says, I don't have any plan, and I am working as an intern in my dad's company. So Chen says to Han Chi, I am not talking about that. Just then, Xin Wei calls Chen, so Han Chi and Chen go there. Then Chuxia deliberately shows Han Chi a wedding dress, and Xin Wei also talks to Chen about wedding heels, but Han Chi doesn't understand this, so Chuxia leaves from there. So Xin Wei says to Han Chi, you are very slow. That's why I chose Chen. Saying this, Xin Wei goes after Chuxia, so Han Chi says to Chen, what did I do? So Chen leaves from there without saying anything. On the other side, Xin Wei says to Chuxia, now nothing can be done about Han Chi. So Chuxia says, I have given up hope now. So Xin Wei says, don't give up, I will help you. Just then, Xin Wei sees Han Chi coming from the front, so she goes to him and starts telling him about proposing to Chuxia. So Han Chi says to Xin Wei, I know, I will handle everything my own way. Saying this, Han Chi leaves. After this, one by one, everyone gives Han Chi a hint about the wedding, but Han Chi doesn't pay attention to them. So everyone is talking about this very matter. And Chen says, we all gave Han Chi a hint about this, but he didn't understand. So Chuxia says, it doesn't matter. I love Han Chi, and Han Chi likes me. We are together, that is enough for me. Han Chi overhears all this. After this, Han Chi proposes to Chuxia for marriage. So Chuxia agrees, and then Han Chi puts a ring on Chuxia's finger, and then they both start kissing each other. Just then, all the rest of them also come there and wish Chuxia and Han Chi. And right here, our drama has its happy ending.